Really has brought Hogwarts and Joe's universe to life. It is his creation.
When we first began this whole series of films, Harry Potter 1, we met Joe Rowling and had loads of questions, masses of questions to ask. And this was, in fact, her layout, drawn at a hotel dining table of Hogwarts. All the major ingredients, the Dark Forest you see there, the castle, the Quidditch pitch, the Black Lake, Hogsmeade, everything is on there, the complete world. Without a little hand-drawn map, I would never have got to grips with it in the way that we did. It was the most terrific gift.
Boom! Goes up, and then back down, back over here. Then you're going too far up that way. Okay, cut.
Everyone working on the film was committed to finding a way to make the material not only cinematic, but also a magical, faithful retelling of the first book.
Hand out, Dan. Freeze in that position. Sean, same with you. Don't move. And action.
David Heyman was a wonderful collaborator and very passionate about the film. And I think that's why David and I got along so well. There was nothing else in our minds except making a great film.
Chris was incredibly good to me. I think he respected my passion for the material. He respected the fact that I was there before anybody. He respected that Joe and I had a very good relationship. But there are many people in his position who would have cast me aside. At that time, I was a young producer, and what the director said went. But Chris wasn't having any of that. Not only to keep me around, but he was very supportive. And I learned an awful lot from him.
David and I had the same vision for the films, and that vision being that the first film was more of this wonderful sort of rich version of Hogwarts, this storybook world that we were creating. Then as we got into Chamber of Secrets, the facade starts to chip away a little bit, and we got darker with each film.
That question of what is this world, what does it look like, you always start with the novel. Because J.K. Rowling talks about the great antiquity of the world, I immediately thought, where would you go on location? What exists from that era? Well, there were bits of Oxford and bits of Cambridge, some of those colleges, and also the great Gothic European cathedrals.
We were able to go to various churches and universities throughout England and create the whole world.
The creating of the castle carried with it this inherent problem of mixing real locations with bits that we had designed. Given that real locations are often disappointing, they're full of bits that don't quite fit the story that you're trying to tell. So it's the blending of these two worlds, and I found that very difficult, and I think in some respects, I have to say, we failed. And I'm thinking specifically of the exterior of Hogwarts. When it was all put together, it didn't amount to a really successful, iconic silhouette, which is you want it to work on this kind of simple level. What has happened since then, on all the subsequent movies, we have slowly improved the silhouette of those things. We've taken away some of the real locations.
Annick was a featured part in one, is less. So Stuart has reshaped and rebuilt Hogwarts as the films have developed to become more to his liking, I think.
Rupert, hold your head up. Dan, eyes a little wider. He's gone. Look to them.
Yeah.
But this is important. This is about the sorcerer's stone. Just a little faster. Head up. Eyes wider. She's just told you he's gone. Action.
He's gone? But this is important. Yeah.
You gotta look to them. He's gone. Head up.
In the early days, I had to find a way wrangling these kids to deliver some sort of performance because they couldn't have been any greener.
It's a lot harder than everyone thinks. And there are 50 billion, trillion, million things going on at the same time that you have to think about, like hitting your marks, getting your line right at the right time, making sure you step into the light so that the face doesn't shadow you. All that kind of stuff. He's gone? Now? But this is important. This is about the Philosopher's Stone.
Okay, still rolling. Hold your head up. When you find out that he's gone, this is the worst thing that could possibly happen, because that means you're dead.
In the first movie, I always, laughed and said we should put a camera on Chris, because what the kid's performance really was a reflection of what he was doing, what he was bringing out.
Stronger when he's gone. But this is important. Set and...
Should we go from he's gone?
Yeah, and...
He's gone? But this is important. This is about the Sorcerer's Stone.
Take a pause between this.
Okay, yeah.
Eyes wide, stronger.
He's gone?
Chris was so wonderful with them. He often had to chin up, Dan.
Head up, Dan. Head up, even higher.
Rupert, stop smiling.
No, don't smile.
Emma, look this way.
You guys should look at each other after he's gone, okay?
Okay.
Somebody said that the difference between children and children on a set is that children on a set actually do what you tell them to do.
That was no stranger Hagrid met in the village. It was Snape, which means he knows how to get past Fluffy. And with Dumbledore gone...
Good afternoon.
Alan Rickman was so fantastic, I was freaked.
You want to be careful. People will think you're up to something.
I was constantly having to remind myself that it was, it's only a film, it's only a film, it's only a film, it's only a film, nothing's real. But it was terrifying.
It is great.
Alan Rickman, to me, was always Snape because Joe Rowling showed me some early drawings. She'd done this sketch of Snape and looked just like Alan Rickman. He was a little reluctant because he has done this particular type of villain in the past, so he didn't want to be typecast as this villain. So David and I took Alan to dinner to convince him he had to play the role. And I remember the car ride through London with David driving, with Alan sitting in the front seat and me sitting in the back, and David almost got in a car accident. And I remember saying, David, don't kill us before Alan says no, you know, because we just expected him to say no, but for some reason, 2 days later, he came back and said yes.
I don't think I had much choice in the matter. Lots of godchildren and nephews and nieces were not only excited, I think insistent.
He knows how to get past Fluffy. And with Dumbledore gone...
Good afternoon. When you see this movie, you're not going to see all of these huge mechanics and the months of editing. You're just going to watch a close-up on two little boys and a little girl's face at the center of the story, and unless that reads, the film won't work.
Dan, remember to enunciate. Keep your head up. Rupert, don't smile. And Emma, don't put your head out forward. Action!
A problem in the early days, and the problem all the kids had, was this sense of total delight at being there, so they could never stop smiling, even if it was a serious scene.
And action!
Me and Dan both had this giggling problem. And I remember Alan Rickman, the first one, told me to relax my face and just not think of anything. Sorry. Sorry. Didn't really work, to be honest. But, yeah, he tried.
Take 10. A camera.
B camera.
C camera.
Set.
Set and action.
In the early days, you might do 10 takes. You might be lucky to get the one you really wanted once.
What? What'd I do?
Then they might have to go off to school and you may not get it again. So we would run 3 and 4 cameras.
Hey, camera. Okay, guys. I don't want you to see this. You know she's coming, okay? Just be reading and starting. Dan, you reading?
Yeah.
It was important for me to always have a camera on one of them in case one of them was coming down off of a chocolate rush, or they lost their energy, or they were getting tired, or they were looking into the camera. God knows, there were a million things going on.
And guys, you're interested. Rupert, you shouldn't be laughing at the end when you find out that Dan's gonna potentially be killed by Snape. Dan,
And the key was, for cinematographer John Seal, was shooting multiple cameras because I never knew when the kids were going to deliver the performance that I needed.
The Sorcerer's Stone.
Okay, gosh, you're laughing.
So if you look at the first film, you see it's very cutty. In other words, we cut to a close-up of a kid, and then I cut away to someone else. We were incapable of getting an entire scene in context. So John's philosophy of shooting 3 cameras basically helped me to obtain a performance here and a performance here.